Hello, everybody. Well, I would like to talk today about SEO. Um, and today's topic is going to be so relevant for a lot of business owners, a lot of therapists, because I deeply believe that we overthink SEO. And to give you context for this episode, for this live stream, is that when we talk about SEO, search engine optimization, it's all related to precision in messaging and positioning too. And we often truly overthink SEO. When we think about SEO, we're thinking about the technical implementation, what we need to put on the website, what do we need to add alt text, do we need to add blog in all of those things, like how do we need to position our description for the video, how we you know what I mean, like that's a really important distinction. And like, hey, got a session in a minute, like, hey, thank you for stopping by. I will drop a replay on everywhere, so on Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, so definitely come back and check it out because this is going to be really good information. So when it comes to specifically like how like positioning and messaging is not the same thing, but how positioning and messaging actually combines to good SEO. And when it comes to good search engine optimization, there is a search engine optimization for the website. There is a search engine optimization for you specifically as a clinician, as a business owner. And they're very similar, but they're not the same thing. Like you can totally flop SEO on the website, but you can win SEO as a person, as a clinician. And this is what I'm going to talk about. And let me just state the obvious. SEO for the website is incredibly hard because there are certain components that need to be in place, and better positioning, better messaging will help 100% with SEO, 100%. So when I say marketing and positioning, or positioning and messaging, what I mean by that. So the positioning is who are you for? And it's not just like generics, like, oh, I serve men, I serve women, I serve LGBTQ plus folks, I serve immigrants. It's a little bit more specific, like what is the niche of your authority, right? Where do you have like the most results, or like your clinical interest? What do you like clinically, specifically? Like maybe you're really good at anxiety, working with anxiety. Maybe you're really good working with divorce or after divorce. Maybe you're really good working with couples on the very specific issue. This is the positioning, right? And the messaging is the bridge to the couples. Like, why would they come to you, and why would they actually start working with you? So the messaging itself, it is a bridge indeed. So, and the messaging could be like actually like the messaging itself break like can be broken down into different phases when people are looking for you. And I promise you, I will tie it together with SEO. So a person who is um, thinking about, maybe something is uncomfortable, but they're not looking for a therapist specifically. Maybe they're looking for self-help, right? And your blog, your posts, your like whatever media that you communicate it with can be really useful. They're they're mostly not looking for like specific blogs on their internet, but they might be looking for like, I don't know, articles on Substack. They might be looking for videos on YouTube. Like from my personal like customer journey, I would possibly go on YouTube. I will possibly go on Instagram and just look what people are saying. And also, Meta is somehow incredibly really good at pointing out and directing people to the right resources. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they do that. But when I was going through divorce, for example, I was slammed with advertisement with content related to divorce, like whether I want it or not. And that was really eerie. That was really weird. And even before I posted about my divorce. So I don't know how companies do that or how it actually happens. But also, when people are uncomfortable, they have very direct attention to like an area of problems, an area of something that is hurting them right now. So, and how it ties to the messaging specifically, you start describing their symptoms. You start describing what they're going through. And this is where they lean in and become curious. So, how it ties to SEO? They might be looking for something, and this is no in no way, shape, or form easy task to perform for any business owner, for any therapist, because like how the heck do you know what they're typing? Like maybe on the intake session you might ask them like, but what was your strategy for looking for a therapist? What did you look for? Like where did you look for? And this is something that I do with my coaching clients. I always ask like, but how did you find me? I always for um in the past when I was working as a therapist in Moscow, Russia, I didn't have to ask because people mostly would just tell me how they found me. And I was working with a very precise and small niche. I was working with individuals with disabilities and chronic illnesses and with I was working with a lot of deaf clients, and I was the therapist who knew sign language, Russian sign language. So that was easy. But with like bringing it back to 2026 and SEO world, what do they type? Right? Like, for example, like in my private practice, like I'm going to share with you what I do with my hypnotherapy practice and the lessons that I made and mistakes that I made with SEO. So, with my private practice, I work with gay men who are going either like who just went through a divorce and they need to rebuild their life, or they're going through big life events or big internal psychological changes and they need to reinvent themselves again. Like they have career, they have like they have quite a bit of achievement, but maybe there's loneliness, maybe there's like dissatisfaction with life, or they just went through a big break after a long-term relationship just ended. And my services, they specifically like it's a hypnotherapy, it's hypnosis, clinical hypnosis, and I optimize my website for hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy for gay men who went through divorce. And it flopped, completely flopped. How it flopped completely, and flopped completely in a way that in order a person to find my website, they have to specifically type in the Google bar or in AI, whatever. They specifically have to type, I'm looking for a hypnotherapist who works with gay men who just went through a divorce. Nobody in hell types that in the search bar. And my website, technologically, like the SEO, like is fully 100% optimized for that. So that is true. Though, so the when people type that it is true, and also not a lot of people typing for that. Now, when I look at SEO overall, right? Um, what brings people to you as a clinician is that bridge, right? We talked about the symptoms. We talk about also people who know the problem. They know exactly what's wrong. Maybe people know that they have OCD. Maybe people know that they have depression. Maybe like you work with sophisticated clients like myself who are therapists or medical doctors, and they know exactly, they have really good understanding what they're going through, and they're looking for a solution. And that is another type. And by the way, it's not just one way or the other. It is a building of your marketing and building of your messaging and building of your website through each stage of awareness, right? Through each stage of customer awareness. So another, like when people know what the problem is, they will be looking for a solution. For example, when I'm looking for a therapist, I'm looking for a therapist who works with gay men, who works with immigrants, and who works in IFS, internal family system modality. Um, the same thing for hypnotherapist. I am looking for similar qualifications. And with that, like I can go either or, whoever I find, right? And these are my searches, right? And I just land on therapists who are in the community or who are affirming or who are in this type of philosophy, right? So this is very solution aware, or this is very problem aware person. Now we have another person who is ready to book right now. They're not shopping around. They're not, well, maybe they're shopping around to book, but they're not shopping around to understand what the problem is. They're done with self-help because the meditation didn't help. The like maybe they went to ayahuasca trip. Maybe they work with a life coach. Maybe they work with like they exhausted their remedies and now they're looking for like specific solution from a specific therapist. So that is very important to to note that that person will be looking for like a solution. How do you work? And that is a breakdown of you. How do you work? So how come all comes together for SEO, search engine optimization? So you should have a part of your website, a part of your content, a part of your online presence that speaks to a person who is uncomfortable, but they don't know what's wrong. They don't know what they need a therapy for. So, like articles, like psychoeducation is huge. And my personal lesson from my private practice is I don't do psychoeducation nearly enough about like hypnotherapy. And hypnotherapy is a little bit different because it is not as mainstream, it's not as popular. There are a lot of bad actors in the industry, unfortunately. And majority of the time, people have a lot of misconceptions about hypnotherapy. And I'm sure people have misconceptions about psychotherapy too, but it's more mainstream. It's like you go to your insurance like provider and you look for a mental health therapist. It's not like you go to your insurance provider and they say, hey, like we recommend you like a hypnotherapy session for like, I don't know, weight loss or for depression or for OCD. They would most likely recommend mental health professional therapist or clinical social worker who can actually do that. So for my private practice specifically, the psychoeducation, what hypnosis is, even though like it may not perform well on social media, this on social media it may actually flop and get, very low views. But that psychoeducation piece will serve me really well when, and this is really important, when they land on relationship building topic, relationship building piece of content And then like, okay, that resonates. Like, what is the solution? Why hypnotherapy specifically will work? So for therapists, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more streamlined. They lend it, let's say, like you help them to understand and diagnose the problem. They land it on your website. They land it on your social media. Then they become aware what's wrong, and then they just go on your website and might look for like possible solution, right? And the possible solution is you. So the part of your website is when you talk about like helping them to put language in, like to describe what they're going through. Then you and when they're aware of what the problem is, you talk about the solution, the possible solution, why your methodology and how you specifically works really well with you. And most importantly, the solution aware, when they know exactly, they know about you, they know about your practice, what to expect after that. Because it's wrong to assume that people actually know what happens in therapy. You describe like what happens in therapy, how it relates to SEO. People Google, people search all of that. And when you have enough, like when you have enough content and when you have enough context for that content, that will actually serve you really, really well. How and like I want to like listen, if you are thinking about how to build that all together for your specific practice, I do have 90-minute consultation. The link is in the post. The link is in the description for this video, for this podcast. You can book 90-minute consultation with me, and we can actually implement it for your practice specifically, for your website, for your content marketing, for your messaging and positioning, and glue everything together. And 90 minutes is more than enough. And I normally usually work with my clients until we have like really good clarity. But it's really good. It's a really good foundation to give you like really solid plan how to implement it on the website, on your content marketing, and help you to move forward. Now, I have to say that for SEO for the website specifically, that is it is not fast acting marketing tool. It is not fast acting marketing tool because number one, there are other technological parts of SEO. And how I know that, like I work in tech for 10 plus years. I am that kind of mental health professional who knows private practice and business and therapy, but also who knows technology really, really well. So now we have like on Google, we have like the crawl. If you like the what, Google will scan web pages for the context. And this is where a lot of SEO optimization go wrong. You, like a lot of therapists, start mushing together keywords, keyword stuffing, in hopes that that page will find the right person for their content. And it's not working really well because that crawler on Google, they will look for specific context. And when we talk about AI will look for specific context. If it's just a bunch of stuffed keywords with no context that is made, then it's really hard for AI and for Google. And Google also use AI. If you look at the results, a lot of the time AI results will be there first. There's an AI mode in Google too. And regardless if you use AI or if you're pro AI or if you're anti AI, and I know a lot of therapists like AI, I'm not fucking with AI. No, 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 I'm not doing that. It's not like you have to do AI. AI will automatically find your content. So, and the keyword stuffing that's just not it. So, and as a SEO, it's a long game. As you create a website overnight, even if the website is optimized correctly, this is a long game, right? The domain should age appropriately. You should put a lot more context for your domain. Also, in a, like also it's really important to have coherence in your domain, and it takes time. And this is why personal SEO, when you put in the work, when you put content, when you put it put blogs and articles, that is way more important than just, I don't know, like slapping SEO optimization on your website. Because this is an interesting trick that I'm observing. When people are looking for specific problems, my psychology today will pop up sometimes. My website is not popping up nearly enough. And again, I have a new private practice, okay? New private hypnotherapy practice. And this is like literally what I see in wild from my perspective. Again, for a therapist, it will be a little bit easier because you have streamlined offer. You're not selling life coaching, you're not selling hypnosis, you're not selling energy work, you're not selling anything esoteric. You're selling something that people know. And sometimes people just come to you because maybe they tried like esoteric remedies for themselves and it's not quite working, or maybe they were referred by a practitioner to come to you after they try all of those remedies. So, but people come to you for that. And your personal search, when people find your videos, when people find your articles, when people find your content, that can actually be more valuable. And this is why when I work with clients specifically, I say, hey, you like profile hygiene is important. So the links in the bio, organized in the correct order. When people land on your TikTok, when people land on your YouTube, when people land on your social media, like they should know how to book an appointment. And you should make it stupid easy for people to actually do that. And this is like, it's like, it is the obvious thing, but it's not the most obvious thing for people actually to do. So, and uh, also for the website, right? You kind of have to refer people to your website from social media, right? Like just plopping your simple practice link, just plopping your Calendly link in the bio may not be may not serve you a good service, because here's the thing, and that's kind of like I can go in details when I do a personal consultation with you. When people land on your social media and they are interested working with you, they would like to learn more. They would like to know, like I personally would like to know if you're licensed. I would like to know if you're licensed in my state. I would like to know if you work with people like me. I would like to know kind of like maybe like who you are as a clinician, as a person. And you don't have to self-disclose like crazy amount of information, but like, oh, I work, like if I land on your website and you say I work with Christian women to help them with their marriages, you're probably not for me. I'm not a Christian woman. I will move on. But if you say, hey, I'm working with gay men and immigrants and I'm IFS therapist, or these are people that I'm working with. I'm working with like high achievers who went through divorce and reconcile with their spouse after divorce. They're like, oh shit, that's me. I will probably book a consultation with you. You know what I'm saying? And I want to close with this. And again, like if you want to glue everything together, I have 90-minute consultation. The link is, you know where the link is at. So I do like, and if you don't know where the link is at, hit me up on social media and say, hey, where's the link? I will give you the consultation link. Now, what is important to understand? Social media. I want to close with that. I want to close with social media. Social media, should you be on social media? I was listening to a podcast with Abundance Practice, and they said, like, no, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure I'm butchering a lot of stuff. They said, like, well, it's probably not the most lucrative stuff for therapists to land clients. I will say, maybe. Maybe you should be on social media. And I personally believe that when you like show up your expertise on social media, you can land clients from social media with the right messaging. It's not dancing for TikTok, it's not dancing for Instagram, it's not dancing for any of those like platforms. And it's strategic messaging and positioning, even when nobody is watching. And over time, as you're learning skill to be on video, as you're learning a skill to create content, you will get clients from social media. When I started on social media in 2017, when I was in tech largely, I started my YouTube channel, Eugene Berezin, to get more jobs in tech. I was terrible at content. And over time, you start learning how to be engaging on video. You start learning how to present yourself. You start learning all of those things. And when you do, and when you put everything together, that actually works. Now, if you just open your private practice, it would be insane to think that you will get clients tomorrow from your Instagram account or from your YouTube. And takes time. But also it's not crazy because like business, one thing I know about business is there are illogical processes in business that I can literally explain to you how they work. Because like when I started my coaching business and I focused on career coaching heavily, I got clients in a month and a half, maybe 2 months, right? High paying clients, high ticket clients, just like that. And then for no obvious fucking reason, I had like a very significant plateau in my business. And I don't know, like all the right things that I'm I was doing did not produce the results. Why? I really don't know. And sometimes you have to just go through these ebbs and flows, and it's just a part of the business. But the important part of social media and SEO, social media will help you with SEO to be discoverable. Choosing the channel for your social media, is it LinkedIn, is it YouTube, is it Facebook, is it Instagram? Like it would really heavily depend on your demographic and who you're talking to. And I have seen success with LinkedIn. I have seen success with YouTube. I have seen success with Instagram. Anything can literally work, but strategic methodical work is required. So, and also like it kind of it kind of like it kind of depends like what you're passionate about too, because if you don't like a platform, it's probably going to be really insufferable for you to try to figure out the platform. So, and also like it's a lot of testing and it's a lot of learning and it's a lot of like, okay, let me put it together. Let me do the testing for one platform and see how it works. So to summarize it all together, SEO heavily dependent on positioning and messaging. SEO is not overnight solution. Because if you have a new website that has not been there for a long time, if you not registered your website with a Google console, and if your pages are not indexed really well, and it have not gone a significant amount of time, when Google understands who the fuck you are, then SEO probably won't bring you a client tomorrow. It will take some time. But when you organize your website in such a manner that you have helping client to articulate their needs, what they're going through, giving them the language what they're going through, and at the same time you describing like the solution for their problem, and then describing and say, hey, like, by the way, if you choose me, if you choose my solution, this is what you can expect. This is how you book a consultation, and you make it easy for the client, and you follow up with your leads, right? Like either like on the contact form, on simple practice, or whatever your EHR is. That is literally it. That is literally it. Again, I would like to hear from you. So drop your questions if you're listening to it on the podcast. Message me with your questions. If you need consultation, it's 90, I have 90-minute consultations. They're $350. And this is, well, that would be consultation specifically for you. I do have long-term coaching container that I work with people one-on-one for 6 months. And I think if you know that you want to work with somebody for a long time, for extended period of time, if you want a consultant who actually will build a business side by side with you, if you're building a private practice, if you need like this consistent support, like that would probably a good idea to bring it up on the consultation if it would be a good fit, depending what you do. Like I work with a lot, I focus on specifically on solo providers. I don't do consultations for group practices right now because I've never owned group practice myself. So it would be unethical for me to advise a group practice provider what to do with their group practice, even though I might have an idea. But if you're a solo therapist, if you're a solo practitioner, if you're solo entrepreneur, that would be a really, really good place to start and see how you can bring messaging, positioning, SEO all together, like with the website, personal SEO, and the long-term solution. Again, I really hope it was helpful, and I will see you next time. All right. Bye, y'all.